no clue who he was when we showed up for this Fresh and Fit episode, okay?
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about...
When you don't have pardons, then what you do is you allow people to infinitely investigate and then make stupid videos because of shit you've uncovered of stuff like this.
3 weeks, $5 million flowed from a Chinese affiliate of CEF, extorted this associate. Hunter claimed he was sitting with his father and that the Biden network would turn on his associate if he didn't pony up the money. The extortion scheme worked. Days later, $5 million flowed in from a Chinese affiliate of CEFC. Over the following 3 weeks, Biden family members made a series of complicated financial transactions to hide the source of the China money. Here's how that happened. First, Northern International Capital, a Chinese company associated with CEFC, wired $5 million to Hudson West 3, a joint venture established by Hunter Biden and a CEFC associate.
Keep in mind, all of these orgs probably have hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of transactions that are occurring at all points in time. So this is just one of them. And like dozens or hundreds of employees or other owners. But
then Hudson West 3 sent $400,000 to an entity owned and controlled by Hunter Biden. Next, Hunter Biden wired $150,000 to Lionhall Group, a company owned by James and Sarah Biden. Sarah Biden then withdrew $50,000 in cash from Lionhall Group. Later the same...
Notice how they're saying then. Like, where are the dates on all of these transactions?
day, she deposited it into her and James Biden's personal checking account. A few days later, Sarah Biden cut a check to Joe Biden for $40,000. The memo line of the check said loan repayment. Like the payment to Joe from AmeriCorps funds, it's certainly plausible that this payment where James and Sarah used funds from China was indeed a loan payment.
And he doesn't even fucking know what the payment was for. Like, this is the type of shit that you try to avoid. Whereas, Brian, if you're listening, the answer is that a sham investigation can give you infinite morsels of stuff because now you have subpoena power and now you can compel testimony and deposition and you can mine for stupid shit like this that aren't crimes, but laid out and presented in such a way you can convince the public of a particular thing just because you have access to this information. Like, that's the reason why you say, fuck it, we're just pardoning these people to just head off all of this autistic fucking investigatory bullshit. And you are completely and totally within a reasonable realm to think that when the guy is literally putting as the head of his FBI a person who has like a fucking enemies list. Are these people literally just lying about these facts, or are they manipulating them? If they're manipulating them, how so? No, it's the thing that I said before about Zizek or whatever, or when Zizek says this. I don't know if there's not, I don't know if, but the problem is you intuitively, you understand that this is true. I just don't know how to make you how to apply it to all the situations in your life. This is just a collection of facts. This doesn't say anything about anything. It's just a collection of facts. You have to draw, like, here's a thing that I could probably say, okay? Dan, okay. I bet this is true. I bet that there is a guy who, I bet there's a guy who stole money from an organization. We'll call him a thief, maybe even charitable. He deposited that money onto stake. Eddie gets paid out or sells stock in stake. He uses that same money to fund Kick. Kick signs deals with streamers like Destiny. And Destiny pays out co-hosts like Dan. This is a direct link to show you that a thief stealing money from charitable organizations, all of that money, the reason why he's stealing is to ultimately benefit the Jews in Dan. Like, this is just, you have to connect the dots on this. You have to show, at the minimum, you need to show illegal activity on step one. Then you have to show some sort of conspiracy, not in like conspiratorial, but like a plan. You've got to demonstrate that from here to down here. Like, none of this is here. You're just giving me transactions. There's 1,000 or 1 million transactions between all these individuals and companies. What the fuck is the point of this? Is nothing. This is nothing. But that's why you pardon is to prevent this autistic shit from happening.
Sense. Your logic's totally flawed here. Makes no sense.
It's not flawed. The reason to pardon him.
Okay, Julie, let me bring in Julie. If you can answer it.
I can answer that question because Donald Trump went to meet the press yesterday and said point blank that he thinks that the January 6th committee committed crimes. What crimes? I don't know. Maybe doing their due diligence. Stop. Maybe doing their due diligence oversight.
We have got that clip. Let's play that. Let's play that. Julie, hang on.
They have immunity.
Hang on, Julie. I want to play that.
I know why he wants to play that clip, and I don't even know. I don't know which clip he's saying, but I already know what the clip's going to be. I'm going to make a prediction and then I'm going to be wrong so that I'm not a pre-watcher. It's going to be a clip of Donald Trump saying he thinks they committed crimes, but he's not going to order his DOJ to go after them. And then Piers is going to say, well, since Donald Trump literally said explicitly he's not going to order the DOJ to go after them, why would it matter what his opinion is on them committing crimes? But who knows? We'll see.
The clip.
So the point, yes.
Let me play the clip again so we know exactly what you're talking about. We played it earlier. We'll play it again.
This was a committee, a big deal. They lied. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir.
And Cheney was behind it.
Well,
and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
Oh, you cut it there. Okay. All right. Good for you.
So what the hell is he talking about? So there's no. So let's just start. Let's preface this. None of that is true. None of that is true.
Is this true? Was it hard to? No. This has never been substantiated ever. There's this weird baseless claim that Republicans make that a whole bunch of exculpatory evidence was deleted or like hidden by the J6 committee. If that's true, I don't know where it is. I don't know why nobody's come out and presented it or said anything. Who's preventing those people from just coming out and saying like, oh, here's my testimony that would be exculpatory. Here's my testimony that would exonerate. Like, I don't know where these people are. It's just more bullshit lies after more bullshit lies from Republicans.
You know,
just because he says it doesn't make it true.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because I would assume that because his
assumptions are a very
would have
dangerous
filed a
thing when it
motion.
comes to fact gathering.
It's so hard that these two are playing from such a like this is a losing position. Like you're telling me that the J6 committee deposed people whose testimony would exonerate Trump and his cronies, and then they deleted the depositions, and those people haven't come out and said anything? Like, that's so obviously fucking stupid. But even the amount of sentences I've said, like 80% of people have already fallen asleep by the end of that, whereas he can just say, J6 committee, deleted evidence, Trump innocent. J6, where are the charges? J6, well, there were charges, sorry. Where are the convictions? Because they were thrown out now.
Are you saying that Donald Trump's Justice Department is going to manufacture evidence of crimes, or aren't you? Because if they're not, you have no reason to pardon these people. Well, you're not really answering the question. You're going on a diatribe.
Well, you're not letting me answer. You're not letting me answer.
I feel like she said like 2 sentences. Where's the diatribe? Brian Tyler Cohen is too soft and can't think on his feet fast enough to go against Piers. I totally disagree. I think he generally does a pretty good job. The problem is just it's a hard burden right now to explain his side. There's just like a lot of legalese and stuff here. And on the other side, you can just like repeat these like one-liner retard slogans, and it serves their side more effectively. This is why I'm saying that the paradigm needs to change. I don't know how. I don't know if it would even look good, because you should just ask why did Giuliani and Eastman want to be put on the pardon list? Why did they want to be put on the pardon list if they didn't commit any crimes? Like, I would just say, I wonder if they would even just like, oh, I'm not going to answer that. Why did Giuliani and Eastman want to be put on the pardon list? Because they both asked for it explicitly. I think there were more that asked for it too, but I know those two did explicitly. Like,
answer, but be concise. I actually want to hear it.
Okay. Well, actually, thank you so much for telling me how to speak. I
You're
think that Donald Trump just sent a very big message to Pam Bondi as to what he expects. And he expects her to start and to Kash Patel to start investigating these people. Whether they get indicted or not, it doesn't matter. It is expensive. It is
and it doesn't even. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. It's also obvious. Like, there is literally precedence for this. When Comey was doing an investigation that Trump didn't like, Donald Trump fired Comey. When Barr wasn't giving him the results that he wanted from his investigations, Donald Trump fired Barr. When Donahue and Rosen weren't doing the investigations or coming up with the answers that he wanted, he tried to fire Rosen and Donahue. Like, there's precedence for all this. Donald Trump, it's not even like a thing you have to guess he could do. He's already literally done all these things. These are just things that he's already done.
Consuming, and it becomes a huge pain in the you-know-what to be investigated by the federal authorities. And that is the message that he is sending.
Like the Russian collusion.
He knows full well that there is nothing that's been destroyed, because had it been destroyed, his lawyers would have filed a motion.
Yeah, but Julie, I would say to you,
they were not in a position where they could investigate this. They were not
in a position where they could file a motion. What do you mean? Go to court, file a motion for it. These are the most litigious, that's a word, right? Motherfuckers in the universe. These guys filed 100 fucking cases on bullshit election stuff. It was all invented and fictional. They couldn't file an actual fucking case.
A position to do that.
I would say to Julie, look, when you weaponize the justice system of the United States of America against
the question then needs to be, I'm sorry, is it the weaponization of the justice system every single time a politician is investigated or indicted? Because you can't keep letting Piers say this bullshit that it was weaponized against Trump. I think, did I ask him this and he laughed and he said it was, and his answer was, well, it's self-evident that it was. I don't remember what he gave that answer. Like, you need to hear that more. Let's say that at least. Litigious? Maybe that's the word.
President of the United States. First ever criminal court case we've ever seen involving a president. And it's about shuffling some paperwork over an alleged one-night stand he denies with a porn star 18 years ago. When you render the justice system...
I understand that you're British, and maybe it's different in Bongerland, but this was the state of New York. If you want to take umbrage with the state of New York, then go fight the state of New York. This is not the Department of Justice. It's not the United States federal government. And it's not what is under Biden's purview or Merrick Garland's purview. So I don't know why the fuck you're bringing up the state of New York's charges against Trump. If you want, bring up the Mar-a-Lago case and bring up the January 6th case. But the like moving all these things in a way where they all seem like the same thing is just...
To be such a politically motivated farce. And most Americans actually thought that.
Well, not the ones that were on the jury, which are probably the ones that saw the most of it, right? Isn't it strange that you can say that most Americans thought it was bullshit, but a jury of 12 people in New York, right? Jury of 12 people all unanimously agreed that Donald Trump was guilty of the crimes that he was being accused of? Isn't that kind of weird?
You do that as an administration, when you allow that to happen.
An administration that allowed New York, it's New York State. None of this, please, somebody. Brian, you've got this. Brian does law stuff. Brian's got this.
You open up a whole can of worms. You've done it first. You've gone after this guy. You've tried everything you could, however petty, trivial, ridiculous,
now
to try
you
and put him in jail.
whirlwind.
And when it doesn't work, and it actually backfires, and
See, they give the whole game away here. This is why these Republicans are disgusting as fuck. Like, if you could show me that fucking CEO dude voted for Trump, listen, my whole fucking opinion on that thing would change. Listen, this is why they give the whole game away when he says that. Oh, remember. Hold on. Just, I want you to have this in your head, okay? Because I said this before, all right? The reason why Republicans can do anything they want is because they think that Democrats have already done it. That's why. So when you ask them, like, wait, aren't you doing like all this horrible, terrible, illegal shit? They'll be like, well, the Democrats already have, right? So when Donald Trump says that he wants to put a guy in the FBI who has a political hit list of enemies, right? And you're like, well, isn't this like really bad? Like Andrew just said it. Now you reap the whirlwind. He thinks that the Dems have already done all these bad things. So now the Republicans are going to do all these bad things, right? That's exactly what is happening here.
ridiculous
now
to try
you
and put him in jail.
whirlwind.
And when it doesn't work and it actually backfires and it fuels him and he ends up winning big.
So you're talking about a state. So you're talking about
Piers,
a, by the way, you're talking about a state. You're talking about a state charge that has nothing to do with Joe Biden. If you're talking about the federal investigation,
I'm talking about Democrat-motivated prosecutors.
Bro, it's a different venue. It's a totally different venue. It's not even...
Who were doing their master's lead, right?
I don't know who you're talking about. If you're talking about the Justice Department...
There's no evidence for that whatsoever.
...over which Donald Trump will have authority by appointing an attorney general, I am telling you that what the Justice Department under Joe Biden was investigating is the fact that Donald Trump refused to return classified information that he stored in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago. It is the fact that he incited a violent riot that effectively harmed and hurt our transfer of power for the first time in our nation's history.
Well, you're now convicting him of all these crimes, which he's not being convicted of.
No, he was charged with those crimes, but now we'll never see that in a courtroom because all those charges are gone now.
I'm not.
The only thing he's been convicted of is shuffling paperwork with a porn star. And let me rephrase. Hang on. Let me rephrase what I was saying. I'm talking about weaponizing the justice system. Let's make it a more all-encompassing.
It's not all-encompassing because you don't know anything about the structure of the United States. It is not an all-encompassing justice system. We have at least 51 distinct jurisdictions in the United States. I don't know what Puerto Rico or like U.S. territories fall under, but every single state has its own criminal justice system. Every single state has its own 3 branches of government, their own state constitutions, their own legal authorities that you have to answer to. And then you have the United States federal government. All of these jurisdictions are distinct.
Well, you have Democrat slanted prosecutors who just want to jail Trump, even if it's down for shuffling paperwork over a porn star. To me, it was utterly... Why
were they able to get a whole... How many people are on the fucking New York grand jury? It's like 20 people? I don't know if they have to unanimously agree, but a grand jury agreed to the charges. They went through the whole trial process. Jury convicted him. I mean...
ridiculous, that case. And the idea that you then criminally convict...
I don't disagree with that.
Right. So my point is... I don't think anyone disagrees with it, really. So here's my point, is that...
Wait, doesn't disagree with what?
Ridiculous, that case. And the idea that you then criminally convict...
I don't disagree with that.
Right. So my point is...
And then you have to bite the bullet. There's not even a bullet to bite here that like, oh, this was a politically motivated case.
I don't think anyone disagrees with it, really. So here's my point, is that as a Democrat... when you look at this, what's happening now, why wouldn't Trump do this? I mean, he's perfectly entitled to return the favor, isn't he? All's fair in love and politics.
To do what? To do what? Because
to be equally as aggressive.
Notice how he doesn't answer the question, to be equally as aggressive. But keep in mind, in their world, in their mind, like the worst things ever have already been done by the Democrats.
To be equally as aggressive.
He has specific crimes with which he was charged. What are the specific crimes with which you want to charge Liz Cheney? That she stood up to Donald Trump?
Well, that's not the point.
That's always the killer question. It should always be the question you ask. Okay, well, what are the crimes that they committed? There will never be an answer for stuff like that. He has no answer for that. He'll never have an answer, and it's never the point.
Hang on, that's not the point.
As a congressperson?
No, but Julie, the point is, we don't know, because what is being mooted is that there are going to be blanket immunities against any crime that may have been committed, which does, I'm afraid, prompt the question, what are they hiding? Why are you so scared? Yeah. If there's literally nothing there,
well,
if none of them did anything wrong, why do you need blanket immunity?
Because you have a Justice Department that was just told in very clear terms by Donald Trump to the people that he's putting in there, whom he considers to be his loyalists, that he believes that these people committed crimes by...
But it doesn't matter. But the thing is, I agree with what she's saying, obviously, but the Republicans think that the Democrats have already done this.
Investigating him. That is what they're looking into. Not that they might have smoked pot back in 1974 in college.
Why would you need a pardon?
Not that they might have driven drunk in 1983. For what?
Yeah, but why would you need a pardon for that? It makes no sense. So if Trump, even if Trump is investigating, hang on. Let me ask the question. Even if it were the case that Trump wanted to open an investigation as to whether or not there was foul play during the previous administration's investigations of him, why in the world would this require a pardon to these people? That makes no sense to me.
To prevent somebody from being able to investigate now with subpoena power to dig through your entire life and then to misleadingly present some trail of facts like the Republican House committees have already done in order to attack you in the court of public opinion, since you can never win in criminal court or civil court, which they've already done.
Because why do these people need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees on dealing with...
You should bring up what I just said. This is a point too, but you should just bring up what I said.
BS, which is part of their oversight duties to have done. They were members of Congress. They have immunity to do this.
So we just can't investigate anybody because it could be bad.
It's part of their,
no, we don't know.
It is part. Listen, do you understand how it works? Have you ever worked on the Hill? Because I can tell you, they have immunity as senators and Congress people to do their oversight responsibilities.
They have civil immunity. I think even judges and prosecutors, I believe, have civil immunity. They don't have criminal immunity, though. So I don't, or at least I've never heard that before, that they have immunity, criminal immunity. I know they have civil immunity, but...
Well, I thought you just said a second ago that there's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. Now you're backtracking on that?
Because, of course, you'll have to go, because you're going to...
Oh, the speech and debate clause. Isn't that only when you're on the floor debating, though? Isn't that literally just when you're having debate in the House? Like, literally on the floor talking, I thought? Let me read this again real quick. They shall in all cases, except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses, and in going to and returning from the same, and for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. Shall not be questioned. That might be, I think that's criminal and civil. But this is for speech or debate in either house. Does this extend to all actions done on committees and everything? I don't know what the ruling is on this, or if this has even been tested before.
Have to go hire lawyers to be able to prove that this was part of their oversight.
I thought you just said they had immunity. You can't have it both ways here.
Jesus, do you understand how this works? Yeah. You have to get a lawyer to go to court to tell a judge all of this.
So they don't
you obviously don't understand how it works. You obviously don't. I'm sorry. Do you not understand what I'm getting here?
No, Andrew has absolutely no legal background and no legal understanding whatsoever. Just because you might have immunity or defense, this might be a privilege that you have to assert pre-trial. So you'd have to hire a lawyer. They would have to look over things. They'd have to find cases. They'd have to do citations, and they'd have to file the motion to dismiss, citing the immunity that you're claiming to have privilege to. Like, depending on how big the case is and how many different ways you're being hit, this could still be a pretty costly procedure. And if you fuck it up, you might be facing, big federal investigations or federal prosecution. So no, Andrew has no idea what he's talking about here.
Julie, no, I don't understand why these people need to have a part in.
She or Brian needs to back up. You have to explain from a very, very, very fundamental thing, like how the U.S. criminal justice system works. I don't know if anybody listening or I don't know for the people on this panel. I don't know who knows what is even what is even happening. These people probably have no idea.
Because they might be investigated for potential crimes they may have committed.
Can I tell you something?
They have nothing to worry about because there were no crimes. Then why do you need the pardon? It makes no sense.
Did you hear that? oh, well, if you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't have to worry about being infinitely investigated. It's crazy that like the big free speech guys now, right? They 180 as soon as it's on Trump's side, but it's because it's all part of the show.
Have a part in because they might be investigated for potential crimes they may have committed.
Can I tell you something?
They have nothing to worry about because there were no crimes.
What are the
then
crimes?
why do you need the pardon? It makes no sense.
No, but Brian, hang on. Don't talk at once, please. Brian, you say, what are the crimes? That's the point. We don't know, and we may never know.
You're looking for crimes because Donald Trump is looking for crimes because he doesn't like Liz Cheney and the fact that she did.
No, he genuinely believes she's broken. He genuinely believes she's committed crimes.
Which crime? The name one.
Here's the point. To Julie's exact point, first of all, what crimes? Second of all, it costs money to get legal representation to go prove all of this stuff. And third of all, it's moot because all of these people have immunity anyway. You are allowed to act in your oversight capacity in Congress and the Senate to pass legislation to discuss this stuff.
You didn't care when Trump had to spend on lawyers. You didn't care about that.
But what law was broken? Yeah, you're right. They can't break.
Trump was alleged to have broken specific laws, though. We can point to those laws. They're on his charging documents.
The law, but there was no law that was broken. But it doesn't change the fact.
So why do you need an all-encompassing immunity if you've never broken the law?
Why do you need all-encompassing immunity if there's no laws broken?
I don't know.
Let me bring in Vinny.
I don't know if you guys are playing dumb or not, but the fact is,
I don't think it's us playing dumb, Brian.
It costs money to go forward with this.
Okay, I'm actually playing devil's advocate. I'll tell you what, hang on, I'm going to bring Vinny in, but I am playing devil's advocate here because I do think there's a shocking hypocrisy by the Democrats, led by Joe Biden. The whole year they banged on about the rule of law. No one's above the rule of law. And here is President Biden in his last few weeks basically riding roughshod over the rule of law to bail out all his family and all his mates.
You're pretending that it's happening in a vacuum. Piers, you're pretending that it's happening in a vacuum, and not because Donald Trump has come out and said that he's going to use...
I'm saying you reap what you sow, though. You reap what you sow.
But Donald Trump has promised to use his Justice Department as a vehicle to enact his personal retribution toward. That is why it's happening.
All right.
By pretending that there's...
Brian,
let me bring in Vinny.
You're saying good for Brian. Good, because we want Brian. Good for him. If they did illegal shit, then go to jail. You guys are talking all that crap, and you're warning what Trump is going to do to what Biden and his DOJ has done this entire 4 years.
This is exactly what I'm saying. This is what 98% of conservatives in the United States believe. This is what you have to understand when you're talking to these things, okay, is that they already think that all of this has happened. In their mind, every single thing that they're accusing the Dems of doing that aren't even things that are up for discussion or on the table, they already believe they've already done. They already think they've already done. This is
What Trump is going to do to what Biden and his DOJ has done this entire 4 years. Are you not seeing it? And
what
if you think I'm just feel bad because they're going to have to spend money, excuse me.
What did they do? Do you think Donald Trump should have stored those documents in Mar-a-Lago?
For them, Julie, spending money on lawyers? How much money have they gutted out of Donald Trump? How many people have suffered for that fake-ass crossfire hurricane?
Zero, because he had his campaign paid for everything. Zero, because people like you sent money into him.
Hillary got fined. DNC got fined. You're not going to talk over me.
What? Russia collusion, Hillary and the DNC got fined over...
Let me finish. Thank you. And he incited an insurrection. It's all bullshit.
Why wasn't he charged with insurrection or incitement?
There was no insurrection. He said, go quiet, go peaceful, don't hurt anybody. It got out of hand, but well...
I like how we add more and more every single time. He didn't say any of those things, by the way. He said, I know you'll be walking peacefully to the Capitol. He didn't say, go quiet, go peaceful, don't hurt anybody. I like how there's like a whole new thing added every single time they bring it up.
He said, go quiet, go peaceful, don't hurt anybody. It got out of hand, but well, the FBI can't even answer. How many FBI agents were on the ground? Ted Cruz asked her in Congress. How many of them incited violence? It's all fake.
Like
nobody got arrested for
it. We're going to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole. There's no point even talking about this because it's like one person saying that the Earth is round, somebody else is saying the Earth is flat.
Like you call it a conspiracy theory, which it is, but like half the country believes in this shit. Yeah. It's so crazy too how they bounce between so many things. There was no violence. The police let them in. We saw Tucker Carlson's video. Nothing was violent about it. It was a peaceful protest. Okay, yeah, well, it was also a super violent insurrection, but it was started by the Fed. It was a Fed's insurrection, or Antifa, actually. It was an Antifa insurrection. The federal agents on the ground and Antifa started a violent insurrection. But also, there were no guns there, right? Remember, there wasn't a single gun, so it actually wasn't violent. There were no guns there whatsoever. It wasn't violent at all. Like, you saw the cops letting them in. There were no guns anywhere. But also, Antifa and the Fed started a violent insurrection. But only one person died, so there wasn't even like it's just it's living in all worlds at all points in time. There's not even an attempt to be truthful, right? These are just emotions, right, that are coming out. Yeah, it's just like, how do I feel about this thing? And no matter what, I feel like Donald Trump wasn't wrong in anything. I don't know what happened. Don't care what happened, but Donald Trump definitely wasn't the bad guy there.
There's no point in debating.
All right, don't fit your narrative.
You're a flat earther.
I would say, Julie, hang on. I would say, Julie, if we're going to go down conspiracy route, I do remember a 2-year conspiracy being peddled by almost everyone in the American media that Trump had the election fixed by his collusion with Vladimir Putin, which turned out to be horseshit. That's
right.
Turned out to be horseshit. Donald Trump impeded that investigation 50 million different ways. We know that Stone was indicted for communicating directly with Russia. We know that Stone didn't cooperate with any of the investigation. He told everybody to fuck off. He got convicted for it, and then Trump pardoned him. We have no idea where that investigation would have gone to because Donald Trump was trying to impede that investigation at every step. He did it with Jeff Sessions when he got ass pain for Jeff Sessions for recusing himself and not rigging a fund. We know when he fired Comey, that was the whole reason why Mueller was appointed as a special investigator, is because Donald Trump fired fucking Comey for not holding the investigation. So, like, who knows where it would have gone to? We will never know. We'll never know. You want to know what definitely didn't turn up anything, though? The Hillary Clinton email shit, the Hillary Clinton Benghazi shit. Nothing fucking came of that, but we don't hear about that for some reason. At least the Russiagate investigation turned out good indictments about Russian misinformation, which it did, involving the Internet Research Agency, and it made money because we got to see some of the bullshit that Manafort had that he was lying about that he'd gotten from Ukraine. So at least it was profitable. We got something from it, more than we got from any of these fucking dogshit investigations that Republicans have wasted how much taxpayer money, time, and news coverage over.
So, it does depend which conspiracy theory you want to hitch your home to.
Is that in relation to Robert Mueller's investigation?
I don't recall ever saying that Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump colluded to steal the election. So,
and like, look at how much ground you have to cover here. Like how far we're running, and like we can just, because the Republicans have done so well at instantiating so many bullshit lies into the media landscape that with just a single word or phrase, you can bring up so much of this shit that now you have to fight so hard to even begin to claw back like any amount of truth.
Let's not say that
but a lot of people did.
I will say to you,
and the media did fuel that bullshit for 2 years.
Okay, but you're asking me to debate, but Piers, you're asking right now for me to debate somebody who thinks that January 6th was a peaceful protest that got out of hand because the FBI set up these poor MAGA people to go beat up cops.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
Wait, it was? So it was peaceful, or there were cops on the ground inciting it? Which one was it? How are we in both worlds here?
If we're going to have that kind of conversation, if we're going to have that kind of conversation, stop screaming in my ear, please. If we're going to have that kind of conversation,
why did Nancy Pelosi down National Guard?
The earth is flat.
Why did they not want the National Guard there?
Just for the record.
Why did Stephen Son, the chief of Capitol Police,
National
say
Guard,
that they were requesting help, and she denied it? She's on camera. You're delusional, okay?
If you're
I actually thought,
I'm not interested.
Hang on. I actually thought the most interesting point that Trump made in relation to all that was the different double standard. I thought what happened on January 6th was appalling, and I think that a lot of people pay.
How do you fight against this? It's control of the media environment. Piers is allowing this to go on as it is, right? None of these people are ever held to account for a particular opinion. The only people who are being pushed on here, right, to flesh out every part of their opinion are the two liberals, and they're being pushed and pushed and pushed to like flesh out and justify and walk through everything, while these two guys on the side can scream and shout like animals, and Piers can continue to just like needle this side. But like, I mean, yeah, like you're never winning in an environment like this is basically impossible. You just have to find like snappy things to say, and that's basically it.
Behaved extremely badly, and a lot of them should have gone to prison, which they did. I think maybe it was overdone, and some of them got ridiculously long sentences. But I thought the point that Trump made about the hypocrisy.
Which ones? Who got ridiculously long sentences? Undeserved, ridiculous. Which ones?
And double standard of how, for example, the BLM rioters were treated with the devastating damage that they caused, I thought it was a very good point. And I think, again...
Wait, you know that people were arrested for stuff like that, right? Wasn't it over like 10,000? How many arrests were there? How many arrests over entire BLM period? By June 22nd, 2020, police have made 14,000 arrests in 49 cities since the protest began. What is the comparison here? What do we even...
And double standard of how, for example, the BLM rioters were treated with the devastating damage that they caused, I thought it was a very good point. And I think, again...
What's the good point? What's the point?
It comes back to the hypocrisy, right? Democrats cheered on the BLM rioters. That was all in the cause of tackling racism. But here you have people who believe they were standing up for democracy.
The difference is, how many of the Democrats... First of all, the Democrats had to disavow that to win their election, right? Biden and Kamala had to come out and say, we disavow the rioters to win their election. Donald Trump and the Republicans still celebrate January 6th. Or, well, they celebrate it, and then they also say they didn't do it at the same time. So there's already a huge difference right there between the two sides, number one. Number two...
The cause of tackling racism.
Democrats, at the very least, won't deny that the BLM riots happened, right? Republicans don't even acknowledge, like, the J6 even occurred. Like, what?
But here you have people who believe they were standing up for democracy. I don't agree that they were right. They shouldn't have been doing it. But there was a double... Julie, hang on, Julie. There was a double standard. There was a double standard in how the different types of protesters got treated. There was.
In what way? Who? Which ones? Also, the BLM riots, you're talking about like hundreds or thousands of riots across like months. Like, what is even the comparison here?
Piers, if you're suggesting that Democrats cheered on BLM rioters,
no.
They gave them entire cities to destroy.
What?
They gave them whole cities to destroy.
Crazies on the left cheered on BLM rioters? You're saying?
Oh, careful. He's going to bring up the Kamala Harris tweet.
The Democratic Party cheered them on?
Yes.
Really? You're saying that Nancy Pelosi cheered on people who were rioting and looting?
The fact that they're going to say that they cheered on the rioters when that, I don't, like, again, they had to develop to win the election, number one. And number two, these guys are fully on board with a blanket pardon for the J6ers.
Yes. They're saying that the peaceful
that's what I'm saying.
protest. You're delusional.
That was a Kenosha, and it was stupid. That was one CNN reporter. That was nobody, that wasn't a mainstream Democratic person. Like,
Yes. They were saying that the peaceful
that's what I'm saying.
protest. You're delusional.
Show me where Nancy Pelosi at the time was saying that. Show me where Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi or Kamala Harris or
Democrat
was saying
too busy getting on her knees.
You know what we need now? You know what we need now? We need a group handshake, and which takes me neatly to the Donald Trump Macron love-in at the Notre Dame reopening. Which, by the way, let's just take a moment to salute the French, who have got a lot of issues right now, but the way they rebuilt Notre Dame, I was there a few months after the fire. I thought it would take 20 years. The fact they've got it back even better than before in 5 years is an amazing feat. I can only compare it that in London, one of our great bridges, Hammersmith Bridge, stopped having cars over it in the same year, 2019, because of cracks in the bridge. And today, it's now at least another 5 years before that bridge will be fixed, which means a minimum of 10 years. They rebuilt Notre Dame in 5 in France, and we couldn't get a bridge with cracks in it fixed.
Would you agree with this? Harris did encourage it with saying she'd pay for their legal fees, but that's alternative values, not alternative reality. First of all, Harris retweeted a bail fund. Whether or not somebody's allowed to post bail is at the discretion of a judge. Retweeting a bail fund, I don't think is the same as saying that you support violent rioters. It's not the same thing. It's not. You shouldn't even be allowed to gaslight people into thinking that's the same thing.
In 10 years, I think it's embarrassing for my country. Anyway, that's nothing to do with what I want to talk to you guys about.